I'm a very self-reflective person, man. I think that, again, going back to how we started, my aviation career being very up and down career, so to speak, I came to the conclusion that I got into aviation like for the wrong reasons. Because, it's like I constantly run into people, at least, God, man, probably like every other month. Oh, it's really cool that you're a pilot. And it's like, you know,
Yeah.
I guess, like, the stress,
Dude, I feel that so much though. When people say that to me, I'm like, it's just a job. And
Well, you know,
it's, yeah.
it is,
Feel that.
but when it's like you're imagining how awesome it's gonna be, it's a different
Right.
perspective. And then when you're in it, you're like, oh yeah, it is. I mean, it's a great job, but it is a job, right? You have to go to work
yeah,
every day.
yeah,
So
Yep.
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it checks all the boxes, man, in terms of like, I mean, if we're honest about what we really want in society, or one of the big things, let's just say one of the big sort of egotistical bucket list things, it's like we want status. You talk to people and say, hey, or talk to kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? You want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a pilot? It's cool. And then that luster sort of wears off. And, I think like I've thought about this a lot, man. And it's like pilots are we're very unique people, man. And we're in a very interesting time in aviation. We're in what I call like the boring phase of aviation. Because if you think about it, man, the guys that have been retiring for like the last 5 years, I mean, those guys came up in like the 1980s.
Totally
Like
different.
the guy,
yeah, the jet age, yeah.
yeah, the golden age basically, and the guys that
Hmm.
came before them. I mean, there's obviously overlap there, but a lot of those guys were F-105 Thunder Chief lieutenants, bailing out of Vietnam. And hey, I get it, man. They had a lot of losses, but we're kind of at this interesting phase now, man, where you have to have a very unique personality to be a pilot. And but one of the elements of that is like you have to be like slightly unhinged.
Yeah.
You have to have kind of like a wild side to you. And I could dovetail into like how I feel about this next generation of pilots coming out. We talked about this yesterday, Scott. A lot of them I
Yeah.
call uniform. A lot of them I call uniform chasers, man. And why? Well, I mean, because like, and again, man, there are some good guys out there. There's guys like Scott coming up. I mean, you're a little bit older, Scott, but you got guys like Spencer, and Spencer, right?
Yeah.
I think, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Spencer, right? Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
Spencer and
yeah,
I are buddies now. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if that guy's, I make a distinction between pilots and aviators, right? A pilot is a guy that flies an airplane. A professional aviator is on a completely different level. He's one part psychologist, one part this, one part that. You know, I know we're not supposed to do this, but I compare myself a lot to somebody like Spencer. And if he's not flying, like for his job, he's flying for fun, and he has access. He
Does
has
he
access.
own a yak or something like that?
No, he doesn't, man. But
He flies
the,
that thing, right?
yeah, he flies that yak a lot. No, that belongs to the owner of the airport, but they're really good friends. I mean, they're like tight as
Okay.
a glove.
All right.
Yeah, so he lets him fly that. He has full access to that yak like all the time.
Crazy.
But I mean, if Spencer's not flying the yak, he's at Oshkosh. If he's not at Oshkosh, he's flying for work. If he's not flying for work, he's watching videos about flying. If he's not doing any of that, he's reading books about it. If he's not doing any of that stuff, man, he's making memes about aviation. And when he's sleeping, I know for a fact I would bet all my money that he's dreaming about it. you know. So, but I mean, that's the difference between somebody that's like a pilot, a guy that flies an airplane, and a professional aviator. Very high social IQ. Like sort of book smarts and street smarts. So,
Hmm. Yeah,
but yeah, and I
absolutely.
don't it worries me a lot, man. Like
Expand on the
maybe worry.
uniform chaser thing.
Well, I think and this is my own personal opinion, man. Feel free to disagree with me. Like, for a while there, I was flying traffic watch up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and it was like,
Oh wow.
we would fly like airborne news reporters like all around the Bay Area in 172s, and I mean from like 5 o'clock in the morning. There was like five different shifts, 5 or 6 different shifts, from 5 o'clock in the morning till like 7 o'clock in the evening. And it was right at the time where the hiring boom started. So like at the time I started flying traffic watch, I was actually flying King Airs on the weekends and then flying traffic watch, basically like 4 days a week. So we'd fly around airborne news reporters, and it was right around that time. They would hire you at 500 hours, and right around that time, the hiring boom started in the airlines. And so we would have people that would come on board with 500 or 600 hours, and they had some CFI time or whatever, and then in like 6 or 7 months they'd have 1,500 hours. and they'd go straight from like a 172 to a regional, and I'm like, whoa, that's like a huge jump. I don't want to say something that's going to get me in trouble, but like there was this one girl that flew for us, right? And again, I was flying King Airs at the time, and I told her, hey man, you should go like try to fly some jumpers or something a little bit, you know, get a little bit more experience, maybe get into a turboprop. And she got hired on with SkyWest contingent upon getting a multi-engine rating, right?
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I was
I
joking with her
remember
one
that.
day. Yeah, and like I was joking with her one day. Well, she didn't really realize I was joking, but I was just like, "Hey," she said, "Oh, I got a class date." I was like, "Cool. Hey, main thing you got to remember is like, you know, when you get off the ground, don't forget to pull the mixture back." You know. She's like, "Okay, cool." And I was just like, "Oh man," I was like, and you know, like, hey, listen, man, like, I to be fair, like, you know, pilots, we tend to be, or aviators, whatever you want to call us, like, we tend to have like a higher level of ambition, and I get it, but one of the things, and Scott can attest to this, is like flying skydivers, man, you learn to fly the nuts off an airplane. You know, I mean, it's just going all day, you know, up, basically an emergency descent, back down. And like, you know, I logged over 4,000 hours in 7 years in King Airs, you know, and I mean, Scott, Scott was out in Puerto Rico when I was flying.
Hmm.
I mean,
That's how I met you.
I, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny.